Hi there, I'm Beth, and today I want to share with you a project I've been working on in collaboration with Catherine, or Magical Girl Kit Kat, for her very own resin BJD doll release, Dreambourne dolls. You'll find all the current information over at dreambouredolls.com, link in the description. I'm one of 3 artists that have been commissioned to each create 2 full set outfits. So also look out for outfits by Jo Sews and Barb from Enchantarium on Catherine's website. I'm not going to give a full seam by seam breakdown of the whole outfit. We would be here all day. I will go over the most interesting bits, including a new shoemaking method that I've come up with that I think you will like. So strap in and enjoy. In order to properly measure and model for the outfit, we were given permission to resin print our own copy of the doll. There will be 3 different characters and face-ups available done by Kat, Miri, Rin, and Noah. Using a plastic storage box and some household items, including some fabric arm tubes not yet pictured, I built myself a contained sanding box for processing all of the printed pieces of the doll. She is beautiful and very well articulated and is comparable in size to a smart doll. Of the 3 characters, I chose to work on Noah. I sketched up some concept art using Procreate on my iPad. And then I chose the one I thought I could most faithfully recreate at a 1/3 scale. I ordered some fabrics, but most of it I had already. I designed Noah's skirt to be made up of 6 or 7 panels, sized to slip easily over her hips and then be finished with an elastic waistband, and each panel would have a flounce, a spiral kind of shape cut from an approximate circle, inserted in between each pair of panels. My little helper here, keeping all the panels and flounces separate and organised. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a face up yet. Noah's skirts are made from this lovely peachy pink silk that I've been holding on to for years now, wanting to make something with it. I check how the skirt looks on her before I hem the bottom and add the waistband. Once hemmed and finished, I take both skirts and carefully hand wash them, then gently press out the excess moisture into a towel and hand maneuver each of the flounces so they're sitting perfectly before hanging up to dry in the window. I'd like to welcome in my newest Patreon supporters, Sue Hardy and Jane McCall. I'm forever grateful for all the encouragement you all give me there, so thank you all so much. Members of any tier will have access to exclusive downloads and to the patrons only secret shop with loads of free sewing patterns and discounted Blythe doll neck joints. Even if you only join for 1 month, for less than the price of a cup of coffee or a pint, you can get them all. Follow the Patreon link in the description to learn more. The jersey and ribbing fabrics for Noah's sweaters came in and I could start making them. Where the skirt came together pretty much on the first try, the sweaters actually took quite a few different iterations. But I made my alterations and very, very carefully hand finished the collar and the cuffs. I am very pleased with how they turned out, and I think the colours look really nice together and suit her character. Next up is the best part of every doll project, making tiny shoes. Oh, I love them. I drew sneakers in the concept art, not quite thinking ahead that I would have to make them, but fortunately I had some ideas to try out. What you saw a moment ago is Kids Craft Foam Sheets, or EVA foam. I've often used the corrugated and textured ones for making the soles of slip-on shoes, but I had some ideas about other ways I could use this material. Here I've traced and cut out and glued together with contact adhesive 3 layers of the craft foam, one being textured for the sole, and I use a sanding drum bit on my Dremel or rotary tool to sand them all together and finish them off nicely. This was another messy task to be done in my new sanding box. Let me show you the crazy coloured mock-up shoe that I made. Everyone I showed it to really likes it in these colours, but I'm not sure. Would you buy a pair of doll trainers these colours?
Yes.
The uppers and tongue pieces for these sneakers are pretty straightforward, sewn using cotton and turned right side out, and they're pressed before I do the top stitching, for which I've laid them onto some tear-away stabilizer so I can get the stitching really precise and even all the way around. With the decorative stitching done, I mark the placement for each of my eyelets and I punch out the holes using some leather punch pliers. I then use these 2 or 3 millimeter eyelets and punch them each into place. I use white satin ribbon to mark the center back of each shoe, gluing it into place and leaving a little loop at the top. On top of the foam layers I showed you earlier for the sole, I've glued a matching shape of felt onto the top. Then, starting from the center back, I use tiny whip stitches to join the felt sole and the fabric upper. I stop just a little bit from the end on each side. The tongue is then shaped and intended to overlap and attach just to those pointed bits at the end of the upper. Next, I'll show you how I made the toe. I watch all sorts of crafters and makers elsewhere on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of cosplayers using EVA foam heated and shaped to make various armour pieces, and I thought to myself I could use a thin version of EVA foam to craft with at doll scale. It's just a scrap piece I'm showing you here, but the technique is the same as I used for the shoes, heating up the foam shape with a heat gun until I can see it ever so slightly shrinking back, kind of curling up just a little. Then I can use a ball-shaped tool like this, or just the handle of another tool, to press into and shape the foam as it cools. I'm doing this on an ironing mat that's made of thick wool, so I don't damage the surface that I'm normally working on, but you can see how effective it is. If you're not happy with your first attempt, you can somewhat reheat and reshape the foam as well. It kind of relaxes out of its shape when it's reheated. If you need more of a curve, you can use a smaller ball and you should get a tighter curve to it. At this point, I was then able to trim and glue on these toe caps, if you like, to each of the shoes, and then to finish them off, I cut strips and added decorative stitching to some trim pieces that I then stretched and glued around the outside of each shoe. I mentioned earlier about the similarity in size to Smart Doll, and you can see here the shoes fit our Smart Doll girls perfectly, so I'm definitely going to have to make some more. And that's it. 2 sets made. I actually also made some underwear for her off camera. I'm really pleased with how every piece turned out. I finished off one of the prototype sweaters and have kept it for my own smart dolls. And I would like to make this skirt again. I'd like to try it in some different material. Although the way the silk ruffles sit on these versions is really beautiful. And of course the shoes. I'll definitely have to try making some for myself, and if I believe my friends that want purple and green versions as well, they're very Evangelion coded, I'll maybe make some of those for sale too. I did have a lot of fun making these clothes, and I really hope that the launch of Dreambourne dolls goes really well. I really hope that seeing how I put together these outfits might nudge you into getting one of the 2 full set dolls available. I will leave links to the Instagram and to the website in the description box below, so do check them out. Massive thanks to you all for watching today. I really hope you enjoyed today's project and seeing the outfits for Kat's dolls come together. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed today's video, and a comment too while you're at it. Let me know what was your favourite part of today's video. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!